From that day on, Tian Yushu devoted himself entirely to cultivation in order to achieve the nascent soul breakthrough. He practiced regardless of day or night. As long as he felt it wasn't enough, he would continue. By day, Tian Yushu practiced martial arts, and by night, he sat in meditation to absorb the essence of heaven and earth. Thanks to his relentless and persistent effort, Tian Yushu's power grew stronger day by day. Time slowly passed, 100 years went by in a flash, and the leaves had shed and regrown countless times, yet he remained diligently cultivating. After a century, Tian Yushu was still practicing diligently, his eyes wide, staring ahead. Next, Tian Yushu absorbed power from the thunder. For the past 100 years, this had happened countless times, and his endurance had visibly increased. Wave after wave of thunder rumbled down, terrifying anyone who heard it. While Tian Yushu was relying on the power of lightning to cultivate below, two people were quietly observing his every movement from above. The green-haired man observed him intensely, his eyes flashing with interest. Countless bolts of thunder surged, madly striking Tian Yushu's body. The entire scene was enveloped by streaks of lightning. They stretched out like trails of energy streaking across the sky. Tian Yushu's small figure was right in the center, absorbing this power. Broken stones flew everywhere, creating a feeling of extreme chaos. Finally, a clear, melodious sword chime rang out, and a blinding sword light pierced the cloud layer, cleansing the sky. All the thunder seemed to have been absorbed by Tian Yushu, and the lightning bolts transformed into dazzling yellow energy streams that poured directly down to the spot where he sat. And finally, Tian Yushu successfully achieved the nascent soul breakthrough. His body seemed to be enveloped by a tremendous surge of power, radiating a brilliant halo. The two men who had been observing his progress showed great satisfaction with the result Tian Yushu had achieved. The red-haired man excitedly cheered. "The young master has advanced to the nascent soul realm." After succeeding, Tian Yushu immediately flew up to find the two men. He asked the green-haired man joyfully, "12th brother, you personally came to watch my breakthrough to nascent soul?" 12th brother smiled and replied with satisfaction, "With your aptitude, why would I need to watch? I merely came specifically to congratulate you." 12th brother sincerely expressed his admiration for Tian Yushu. He continued, "But I never thought your success would come a few days sooner than predicted. Congratulations on successfully advancing to the nascent soul." Beside him, the servant who had carried Tian Yushu away that year, Ling Pu, was also present. He quickly stepped forward and respectfully congratulated Tian Yushu. "Congratulations, young master! May your lifespan reach 5,000 years, and your immortal fortune flourish." In stark contrast to his joy when speaking with 12th brother, Tian Yushu's eyebrows immediately furrowed when he saw Ling Pu. Tian Yushu immediately questioned, "Ling Pu, I have fulfilled your requirement and advanced to nascent soul. Now, can you finally tell me about my mother?" Ling Pu heard this and bowed 45 degrees, respectfully explaining. The matter back then was not the demand of this old servant, but rather the requirement of Lord Tian Xuan for the young master. Next, Ling Pu spread his 5-fingered hand towards Tian Yushu, and a stream of power shot out. He continued, "Since the young master has reached nascent soul, this old servant will naturally fulfill the promise. Please prepare yourself." Immediately, a stream of memory slowly infiltrated every corner of Tian Yushu's mind. His face showed a hint of confusion, but very quickly he understood the issue. 2 streams of tears welled up in his eyes, mixed with joy. "Finally, I can see my mother." However, his mother could not wait for his century of cultivation. She had passed away long ago. All that remained was a tombstone carved with her name. Tian Yushu had fulfilled his long-held wish. But standing before his mother's tombstone, under the cold pouring rain, an indescribable emotion welled up in his heart. Tian Yushu was deeply distraught by this. He looked at the tombstone engraved with his mother's name in shock. At the same time, Ling Pu, standing beside him, spoke up to explain. "Your mother passed away naturally 12 years ago. Lord Tian Xuan bestowed many spirit elixirs to extend her life, but human effort ultimately struggles to prevent the will of heaven." Ling Pu revealed the truth to Tian Yushu. It is not easy for a mortal without a spiritual root to live to be 300 years old. Every word he spoke felt like a knife piercing Tian Yushu's heart. He clenched his hands tightly to maintain his composure. But the emotions in Tian Yushu's heart still could not be suppressed. He sank down beside his mother's tombstone. Tian Yushu looked at the grave, his eyes revealing disappointment, regret, and fury, which finally turned into deep melancholy. He called out regretfully, "Mother!" His 12th brother arrived at that moment. He placed a hand on Tian Yushu's shoulder to comfort him. "14th brother, contain your sorrow. From now on, stay by my side and help me." Tian Yushu's eyes became empty at this point, as if all his efforts over the past years had collapsed. The feeling was unbearable. Lu Xing used his power to delve into the deepest parts of Tian Yushu's memory. He looked at the tiny figure of Tian Yushu in his hand and said, "Tian Yushu's memory is too complex." He even helped 12th brother and the other heirs of Tian Xuan, the 9th peak master of the Daoling sect, in their internal struggles. Lu Xing's eyes suddenly changed, and his expression became serious. He concluded, "All this is completely unlike the way of life of the heavenly snake martial Dao civilization. The hierarchical system of Tian Yushu's civilization can be said to be extremely feudal, strict, and cruel." But then the expression on his face changed again, returning to a state of satisfaction. Lu Xing slightly curved his lips and continued, "The hierarchical system of my cosmic martial civilization is also considered strict. But the Federal Star sectors will at least mention human rights, and for better or worse, they still value appearances." He was speaking to the sightless cultivator. He expressed his opinion. But in the world of immortal cultivation civilization, high-level cultivators view low-level mortals as nothing more than pigs, dogs, and weeds. Lu Xing's eyes darted around, but his words remained sharp. Regardless of whether they are righteous or evil. Just to cultivate a certain technique or forge a certain magical treasure, the slaughter of an entire planet's population is casual and commonplace. Then, he put himself in that scenario and thought, if I had transmigrated into that cultivation world with the identity of an ordinary person, I'm afraid I would have long become a grain of sand in the vast dust. After breaking through to nascent soul but failing to reunite with his mother, Tian Yushu seemed to have become a different person. And Tian Yushu had done quite a few unrighteous things in order to cultivate, which could be considered the eradication of his last lingering scruples. Despite this, Lu Xing found the whole matter extremely interesting. After absorbing this memory, his gains were immense. A relatively complete cultivation civilization system, including cultivation techniques, formations, magical arts, divine abilities, and elixirs. Because he gained without labor, the accumulation of Tian Yushu's thousands of years of bitter cultivation now belonged to him. Next, Lu Xing conjured a recording book. He flipped through the pages to search for the necessary information. The profound spirit treasure record was the technique Tian Yushu valued most. Achieving great accomplishment in its cultivation could be equivalent to the martial Dao. And Lu Xing was surprised by the rank of the technique. It had even reached the threshold of level 15, which left him stunned. Lu Xing read the relevant document intently. "It's on par with the Dao of Wang He and Duan Yifeng. Good stuff. Since the cultivation techniques are different, it's difficult to distinguish the differences in systematic knowledge between the two types without personally cultivating them for a while." Having grasped this information, Lu Xing felt like he had struck gold and raised his hand in celebration. "I managed to encounter one Tian Yushu. In the future, I might encounter a second opponent from the immortal cultivation civilization. The proverb says it well, know yourself and know your enemy, and you will win 100 battles." He was incredibly smug, even dreaming, maybe some miraculous chemical reaction will occur, leading to the creation of the Tao of immortal martial arts, an achievement unprecedented in history. Lu Xing was merely showing a bit of optimism. Next, his brows furrowed, and he thought seriously. Even my master's level 16 Dao couldn't stop the Dark Yin Flame Universe's invasion. And the highest achievement I've currently attained is only level 16. Lu Xing did not need to rely on others this time. He made up his mind. Instead of following the steps, why not try it myself? He placed his hand on his chest. A golden light immediately emanated from that spot, slightly hazy, seemingly innate, and closely linked to his soul. If viewed from this angle, the difference might not be significant compared to the martial artist's martial Dao imprint and martial will. A blinding light enveloped Lu Xing, causing him to cry out in confusion. But he quickly regained his composure and realized the principle of that light. As expected, the center of both things is here. Lu Xing felt enlightened and immediately gave it a designation. If these two things merge, I will name it the true spirit. Lu Xing infiltrated Tian Yushu's memories again and saw him lying on the ground, twisting in pain. Blood constantly seeped from the corners of his eyes. According to Tian Yushu's memories, they were also affected by the erosion of the dark-yin flame universe. Lu Xing could also infer one thing from this. After completely failing to salvage the situation, all the cultivators of the immortal cultivation civilization transmigrated under the leadership of a great cultivator, and he didn't forget to indulge in a little fantasy. Lu Xing laughed with interest. There must be quite a few reincarnated cultivators who transmigrated to the original world like him. Maybe I'll encounter them later? But who exactly is this great being? Lu Xing continued to trace Tian Yushu's memories to find that clue. And he got a result. The precedent of the transmigrated individuals from these destroyed civilizations exists. The powerhouses of this universe should be able to clearly recognize the true nature of the alien beast invasion and be more vigilant about this crisis, which is the correct response. But then he shook his head, muttering to himself, Forget it. I won't think about these random things anymore." Next, Lu Xing returned to the main issue. He sat down and got into position. Lu Xing quickly began the first step. He was currently guiding qi into the body. That golden aura was gradually seeping into every corner of his body. This is the end of the video. Catch the next chapters on the Kappa-sama YouTube channel. Please like and subscribe to support me. Thank you all very much.